How long are we going to allow Love is Blind to play in our faces when it comes to a reunion? No accountability. No one's being held accountable. Major topics are being glossed over, right? Major themes that came from such topics are being glossed over. Everything is a joke. We got Vanessa to stop talking about babies. Can Vanessa start talking about things that really matter? Stop letting the cast do interviews before the reunion. Stop. Take some things that you guys are seeing, some questions, some major topics, some themes that you guys are seeing from social media and incorporate that into the reunion. I don't understand this, but y'all want us to keep watching, and for what? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Tammy. This is Tammy Talks. We're here to talk Love is Blind, season 9, Denver. Technically episode 13. I guess this is the reunion. Okay, we made it. We're here. We made it. We made it. We can have a little boogie, okay? Before we get started, please do me a favor if you guys are brand new or a returning viewer. If you were here all season and you enjoyed the episodes and you had a time in the comment section, please hit that subscribe button. Wanted to get to 50,000 wow by the end of the year. I don't know if that's going to happen. We got to be realistic over here, have some perspective about ourselves. However, let's see how far we can get. So if you guys have enjoyed me this season, please hit that subscribe button, thumbs up the video, hype the video if you have any hypes left for the week. I understand I am not the only person that you watch on YouTube, but if you can spare me a hype, spare me a hype, and then leave your comments down below. Okay, I might have some surprising commentary tonight. I might have some surprising commentary tonight. While I enjoyed the season, I honestly and truly did, I was bored with the reunion. And I'm not often bored when it comes to the reunions, but uh, something about this one just did not curl all the way over for me. I think for this to be an hour and 15-minute reunion, for us to get to having 24 minutes left. My TV said 24 minutes and 29 seconds left. And we still had Anton and Ally and KB and Edmond to discuss, I think is irresponsible. And I think it's poor time management. To be real with you, poor time management, right? We spent way too much time on Kacie and Patrick. They didn't make it past the pods. Give the fucking ring back and let's move on with it. We spent way too much time on the Annie, Kacie, Joe, Madison. Who is Avery? Who is Avery? Y'all should have brought the hell. I'm not going to call Avery out her name because we don't know her. But for as much as y'all talked about Avery, she should have been on the show. We waste so much time. When are we going to get to a point where Nick and Vanessa realize and acknowledge, hey, we don't need to be hosting the reunion. We get nothing accomplished. Nothing. Let's talk. We start off with Miles Smith. Who is this young man? But hell, the audience knew the song. Maybe it's me. Not my type of music. But he is playing while they are outside. I said, oh, the nerve to be outside. They are outside having their reunion. So everybody comes in. Everybody looked great. I'm going to give everybody credit. Everybody looked good outside of Joe in that mustache. I didn't like Joe's suit. I did not like his cowboy boots. And I did not like that mustache. Oh, my God. I did not like that mustache. Okay. Everybody else looked great. All right. We start off right away with Megan and Jordan. Okay. So Jordan is asked why he thinks that glitter ended things with him. And he was like, shoot, she right there asked her. And the same. She is right here. So we asked Glitter, and Glitter said that um a part of her does wish that she would have gave Jordan a little more time to get there, but she is somebody that has dated potential in the past and it has not worked out for her. I still do not believe that money was the issue for Glitter. And looking back at my comments, because y'all went in the comments in the last episode, the weddings. Look, I still 1000% believe that Jordan was more into Megan for her money than anything else. He saw he saw money in Megan. That's just my personal opinion. And I saw the comments and a lot of you were like, "Oh, well, if he really wanted is the mic on? Okay. If he really wanted her money, then he would have, behaved this a different way." No, he wouldn't have though. That's the thing. If you are with somebody for their money, you are not going to specifically say things about it. But there are things that Jordan was doing that, in my opinion, Tamara, Tammy, Tam, T, whatever you want to call me, my opinion gave me the vibe that Jordan was with her for the money, on top of the fact that I still have not forgotten and I will not forget that Jordan told her, "We need you." Luca hadn't even met her and he was saying, "We need you." Okay. That is not somebody that's saying, "Oh, I want to be with this woman solely for her love and affection." That's not the vibe that it gave to me. So, Megan, I think a big part of what gave Glitter pause is the fact that Jordan literally would not talk to her. Right. And I had a lot of you guys in the comments that were like, "Oh, when, because I made the statement that I work all day. And I tell people all the time, I literally talk all day for a living. I am always in a meeting. I'm always in a webinar. I'm always doing a presentation. I'm always prepping speakers so they can do presentations. It's what I do for work. I work in communications. Okay. However, I still know that when I come home, even after I have been talking all day, if he wants to have a conversation, then I have to talk because that's what it means to be in a relationship. I'm not saying that when I come home every day, I am just Tammy talk a lot, okay? Even though that might be hard to believe, but I think when it comes down to is she wasn't asking Jordan for a lot. She was asking Jordan to have some type of conversation. And while yes, it could have been editing, from what we saw, Jordan did not give her any type of communication, right? She asked to hear about his job and he flat out said he's not going to talk about it, right? Megan was hurt that Jordan said that he regretted introducing Luca to her. It was a shitty thing to say, but Jordan clarified that he did not mean Megan as a person, but more so for himself, that he regretted signing up for this process and bringing Luca into it. And I think that that is something that people that have kids that come onto the show just have to kind of be mindful about. You have to be mindful about that. So shout out to Jordan for clearing that up. He then goes on to say that he thinks Megan will be a great mom. Megan said that, look, she was just emotional that day when she said that she doesn't know if she's even cut out to be a mother. And we find out that she is now a mom. Shout out to everybody that put that in my comments last week. I don't know. I don't know what it is about some of you that feel the need to put stuff like that in my comments, right? And I feel like it's becoming more prevalent, and not just in my comments, but in across the board with YouTubers, where some of you just feel so emboldened to spoil things. I will never understand it. It's part of the reason I'm debating not even doing Netflix shows anymore, just because it's too much unnecessary stress for me to watch an episode, sit down, take time out of my life to do a video, to engage with you guys in the comments, and then some of you are leaving spoilers. And then when I voice my displeasure, you guys feel like I am just the worst person on earth. because I don't want you to tell me what's going to happen. I want to watch it the same way that you watched it. So I knew that Megan was pregnant or that Megan had a baby because at least 15 of you guys told me in the video for the weddings. You hear how crazy that sounds? Because you guys go and do digging and you want to know about all these people's lives. I don't. I just we'll see if I come back for Love Is Blind because like this is it's so annoying at this point that I don't know if people do it just to get under my skin in the comments, but like it's past the level of disrespect now. Like it's intentional on some of you guys' part and I don't know what to do about this. Um, so we find out that she had a baby 2.5 months ago. His name is Brooks. The father's name is Paul. They were introduced through a mutual friend a couple of months after the show ended. The show ended in April filming, and I think she said she met him in July. She got pregnant 3 months into them dating, and the rest is history. Jordan's eyes were immediately a little watery. Jordan said that he knew because a messy ass person reached out to him on Instagram to kind of let him know. And y'all see how unnecessary that is? That wasn't necessary. Why are y'all? I will never understand the fans of the show. Jordan said that because he knew, he reached out to her. She was very open and transparent about it. But had he found out tonight, it would have been a little more jarring. It seems like nobody on the cast knew outside of Kacie. And Megan said that she kept this private because she was thrust into the limelight. You weren't thrust into the limelight. You stepped into the limelight, Glitter. You signed up for a major reality show that you know millions of people across the world watch. You weren't thrust into anything. And so she wanted the beginning of Brooks's life to be private. I mean, truth be told, Glitter, ain't nobody really checking for you like that, like that, like that. I mean, you're not walking down the street with the paparazzi after you. So, but I guess. So Jordan and Mike talked after filming and stuff, and Mike let Jordan know that he did go out with Glitter for, a few days, and Jordan didn't care. Vanessa clocked Mike for his disgusting comments about diabetes. And it was so interesting to me that somebody of Mike's age and his pedigree did not know that there were two different types of diabetes. When Mike said that disgusting comment about how they were going to have a healthy child, I clocked it right then and there. I said that fool don't know the difference between diabetes 1 and diabetes type 2. He didn't know the difference. So Jordan was given the opportunity to kind of explain for some of you dumbasses that don't know the difference. Yes, I said dumbasses. Be mad about it. And then he also stated how Mike DM'd him and apologized. Truth be told, that apology should have been public because you talked about that little boy and you made comments about that little boy, that helpless little boy that didn't deserve anything, but for you to call him unhealthy? I'm not going to get mad in this recap. I'm not going to get mad tonight. But that apology, Mike, should have been as loud as the disrespect was. Truth be told, I know Jordan accepted it, but you need to be on here apologizing to everybody that has diabetes type 1 for telling them people that they are unhealthy and you're going to have a healthy child. Karma's going to swing the block so heavy on you, my good sir. Yeah. So then we bring out Kacie, Kate, and Patrick, and this was the majority of the reunion, and it irritated me. It irritated me. Patrick has slimmed down a little bit. He looks good. Patrick's going to find him somebody. Patrick said it was hurtful to see Kate's real reason for cutting him off. Remember, Kate basically lied in Patrick's face, and then we saw like some of the real footage about how she didn't think she would get there with him, whatever the case. So Kacie said, you know what? I did this to protect you. I wanted to protect you. That's why I did that because, and I'm like, shut up, shut the fuck up, Kacie. Because look, Kacie, you got so far underneath my skin tonight because you sat up there with them white woman tears. Yes, white woman tears, and you wanted to cry your way through this, and you are allergic to accountability. Just be real. Just be real. When you found out that Patrick was Asian, you wanted to break it off then and there. So you made up this story about your family being the United Nations, all for you to see Patrick and see that ring, right? And you thought that that diamond ring was going to carry you through, but you did not like Patrick. And instead of you being a real woman about yours, you want to sit up here and cry. Shut the fuck up, Kacie. This was so silly, and I can't believe that they spent this much time on this. They didn't make it out to the honeymoon. Why did... So then we get into the conversation about the rings. Allie's gold digging ass said that Netflix provides the rings, so no one has the right to claim them. Shut up, Allie. Shut up. Did you give your ring back? I'm sure you didn't. So Kacie's telling Patrick that, well, you said I could keep it. Patrick said, yeah, when I thought we were going to go back to Denver and work on this. So Kacie's going through this whole thing, and I didn't write it down because she's lying. Right? You had almost 2 years, and this is the best that you could come up with, Kacie? This is the best? Girl, ChatGPT could have given you a better reasoning and story for this. Patrick said, look, this is your platform to apologize. This is your platform to apologize. Kacie starts crying, talking about how I was hurt. You made a comment about me being a side chick. And people were in my comments, yes, who cares? I was with Patrick. Everybody on here was a side chick at some point in time in the pods. You know why? Because y'all are all there dating multiple people. Stop it. Sitting there talking slow and shit, trying to force a tear out, and not nary one came. So then she had the audacity, the guard, the temerity, the nerve, the gumption to pull out the ring and say, I have the ring if you want it back. Give it back. I don't care who it goes to. It shouldn't be yours, Kacie. It shouldn't be yours. Sitting up there wanting to keep this fucking ring in for what? What do you want the ring for, Kacie? Patrick was like, yes, I do. Give it back. So then Kacie is like, should I throw it? I said, I wish you would throw that shit. I wish you would have threw it. Kacie. If Kacie would have threw that ring, y'all, I promise you I would have turned off the reunion and y'all would not have gotten a video. What are you mad for, Kacie? Patrick was like, do you think I should get it back? I don't care about the money. Principle-wise, Kacie should have gave that ring back. She should have. And Kacie knows that she should have gave that ring back, right? So next thing you know, Chris fucking Paul comes up, and I said, Chris, please. Oh, I cannot believe Chris Paul is there. So they're shooting free throws for the ring. I said, I know we are not about to waste good time real estate watching these non-athletic people shoot free throws. And they do. So Kacie makes more baskets than Patrick. So they're shooting for the ring. I'm like, what in the... What in the Sonic and Knuckles is going on here? So Patrick loses. And then it's like, I'll give you the ring back in Denver. So then Vanessa, dumbass Lachey, basically convinces Patrick to give the ring back, and he gives the ring back. I said, so we wasted 20 minutes of this for what? For what? What did we waste this time for? If you were going to give her the ring back, Patrick, why did y'all have this back and forth about it? I lost all respect for you. All of it. Every drop, every morsel, every atom of respect for you. Wasting time. Vanessa then asked Kacie, did she date anyone else from the pod squad? It's Joe. We don't need all this extra. She dated Joe. Madison was rolling her eyes because she feels the way about this. They dated for a month and a half. Madison feels that whatever Joe and Kacie's connection was affected their engagement. How? Explain. Apparently, After the text fitting or whatever that he walked out of, everybody was out shaking and popping and doing the butt, whatever, right? Joe told Madison that Kacie had two paws. She said paws, okay? She said paws, not me. That Kacie had both paws on Joe's chest, given this, okay? Can y'all see? Am I like this? And she was making googly eyes at him. Joe was like, if that's what you think, that's not the case. Kacie sitting up there lying through her teeth. Whatever the fuck they said Kacie did, she did that shit. I don't care. Whatever they said Kacie did, I bet you she did. Heifer. So Joe was like, that's not what ended this. Madison wants to know why Joe didn't tell her that he had a hard time at the Tux shopping because Nick Lachey was like, I was there. You did have a hard time. Shut up, Nick. Shut up, Nick. We don't need too much from you and your wife, okay? So apparently, after the Tux shopping or whatever, not Kacie, what's her name? What's her name? Madison. They were out and she was with some of Joe's friends talking about love and marriage, horse and carriage, y'all know, all that type of stuff. And so she feels away because the very next day, Joe broke up with her. Yes, before y'all put it in the comments, I have heard that they broke up one day and then they had to film their breakup the next day. I heard that. Y'all don't need to put it in the comments. So apparently Mike had a pool party. Why didn't we get to see it? The pool party seemed like the most interesting thing. That's where the drama was. So Mike had a pool party and Kacie came up to Madison and said that they were Eskimo sisters. Kacie, the disrespect is crazy, right? And then Kacie in turn was complaining about how Joe was treating her to Madison, his ex-fiance. So then a new character enters the chat, Avery. We don't know who Avery is or where she came from. Was Avery part of the pod squad? I guess not. But I guess Joe was dating Avery and there was some overlap and I stopped listening because why are we talking about Avery? Why are we talking about this when none of this has anything to do with what happened on the show? Why? Right? So I don't care. I don't care about Avery. I don't care about the situation with Avery because it is irrelevant, right? So Joe and Madison had drinks once after the breakup. Joe was like, we got into an argument. Madison said, we did not argue. We had a conversation that ended up with you walking me to my car, us making out, and you started crying. I said, Sean, now he's crying after the makeout. He don't like you. So Madison said that it was hurtful and irresponsible for him to talk about her body, okay? Joe was like, yeah, I cried a little bit, but that's because I don't cry in the moment. All my emotions came, whatever. In regards to the talk about her body, Madison was like, you opened the door for people to make comments about my body. Joe said he didn't mean any harm by it. He said, I meant no shame. He said, I found you attractive. I mean, all we did was fight and fuck. I said, not fighting and fucking. Fucking and fighting, fighting and fucking. Look, he apologizes for what he said and said that was not what he meant to say. Joe, you said more. Yes, y'all had a conversation about physical type. However, you said more than just I'm used to thinner women. You said she had a thick physique. Okay? You said you want a woman with a thinner physique. You said what you said, own up to it. Don't try to make excuses for it. All that should have been said was I apologize. I apologize. That's it. That's all. I'm kind of disappointed that we didn't get more into some of their arguments. Why didn't we talk about what happened when they were in Baja? Why didn't we talk about what he was inebriated off of? Why didn't we talk about some of the things that happened there? So much got glossed over in this reunion. You know why? Because we were talking about Avery. We were talking about Avery. Someone that's not even on the show, but Avery got more clock than a lot of people did. Let's keep going. Nick, Kate, and Annie, okay? So Nick acknowledged that he failed to take accountability for the breakup with Annie. He said that he came into it and he kind of used religion as a crutch, and she didn't deserve that. and he didn't deserve her, and scene. Look, Nick, a lot of people thought that you were very performative. I personally didn't. I didn't think too much about what Nick had going on, to be real with you. Kate said that the apology feels calculated because he waited until the cameras were up. Kate, I feel like you are being calculated right now because you have so much to say because the cameras are up. Kate said, I'm gonna get my damn 15 minutes of fame and I'm gonna get it now. I felt like Kate did way too much in the scene. Like, even when Annie was like, no, that's not true. They're like, Annie was defending Nick, and Kate looked upset about it. He didn't want you, Kate. Y'all were not compatible. Y'all weren't compatible. You don't believe in religion. You don't acknowledge religion. That's not your judge. And he does. Y'all aren't compatible, baby. And that's it. Kate then goes on to say that this is why women have trust issues because Nick was saying the same thing over and over and over. And I really think that a lot of people signed up for Love is Blind, right? And they come into this and they think that they're going to come in and they're going to find a guy on the other side of the wall and he is only going to like them, nobody else. Because it's like these women lose their minds. They lose all common sense. They lose all rationale, right? When they find out that the person that they like might like somebody else. Yes, he's going to be telling the women the same thing. Yes, I don't know why this is such a big deal every season. If I am dating Marcus, okay? If I'm dating Marcus and I'm telling Marcus, oh my God, you're making me feel, I get butterflies when I come in a room with you and I love our conversations and all that type of stuff. And then I come over here, okay, and I'm talking to John and John is giving me the same feelings, but just with different conversations. Am I wrong for saying that, oh my God, I get butterflies when I come in here with you, John? And I mean, like, and I feel like that's what's happening. That's what's happening. Where Nick went wrong was yes, Nick should have never told Kate he loved her when he had another connection with Annie. Yes, that is where Nick went wrong. But for Nick to have the same kind of conversation with two different women, that is the nature of the show. We are getting so far off the plot of this show because everybody wants to try to make a big deal out of everything, to make a splash, to get more buzz on social media. But to say that this is why women have trust issues, that's not fair. I'm sorry, but that's just not fair. And I know how some of y'all don't see it for Nick. I've seen my comments. Y'all don't see it for Nick, but it is not fair to say that Nick is the reason why women don't have trust issues because he's saying the same thing over and over. This is no different than speed dating. Yes, the same conversation is going to come up. I think that Kate wanted attention because Kate was forcing it. So Andy is like, no, 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 no. The pods are a very stressful, intense situation. And it's very easy to start to feel all these feelings for another person just a little bit delayed, right? So Nick was like, no, you can throw me under the bus. And Annie was like, no, there's nothing to throw you under the bus for. They talk about the love bombing. Nick is like, I can see how it can be that way, but those were my real feelings, right? Kate feels like Nick is being performative, and Andy was like, I don't. I think this is really genuine because sometimes it does take a minute to find that connection with somebody. Sometimes it takes a second. It takes, one conversation to be like, okay. And I think that's what happens in the pods a lot of times, right? Vanessa is asking Annie why she refused to let Nick break off the engagement. And Annie said that she was basically just chasing the feeling of being in the pods and she just wasn't willing to give that up just yet. But after watching it back, she now sees they're like, oh girl, I was forcing their relationship and that's not the type of marriage she wants where she is doing everything she can to try to keep somebody that don't want to be kept. She just wanted to keep trying, okay? Annie's eyes were very red, but kudos to Annie. That hair was brushed, that temperament was even. Tens across the board for you, Annie, because you did what you were supposed to do tonight, sis. Shout out to you, okay? Gold star. Gold star for Annie. So, in the last 20 minutes, we were supposed to discuss the two couples that had some of the biggest themes of the show. But let's try to get through it. So Allie and Anton. Anton said that the conversation that Allie had with his friend's girlfriend Michelle was nasty work and was, okay? He said that he had only met the woman twice and he just really didn't appreciate how somebody that he has met twice started doing a lot of bumping of the gums about his business. He also did not appreciate how it happened because we could have had this conversation at the table. But for her to go to the bathroom and pull her to the side to try to run down on his life, he didn't like. He said most men go to the strip club, it's not that big of a deal. I personally don't think it's that big of a deal either. If a single man is going to the strip clubs have good food. Okay? Okay? But if a single man is going to the strip club every now and again, to me that's not the end of the world. It's not. And the fact that Allie wanted to make it into, I just feel like Allie was looking for any reason to have an issue, right? So it's interesting how Allie is like, how did we never have that conversation? Because that shit really didn't bother you, Allie. That's why. It really didn't bother you. It wasn't as big of a deal as you wanted to make it seem to you. You just had other issues with Anton that you didn't want to bring up. And I think one of the biggest issues is that I don't think that Anton he was willing to provide for you, but not to spoil you the way that you wanted to. You wanted you wanted Anton to acquiesce to your every beck and call, and it wasn't looking like he was going to do that. Because if that was such a turnoff for you, and that just ruined the rest of your night, and it was such a big deal, how didn't y'all have the conversation? Talking about, I don't know how I didn't bring it up because it didn't matter to you. That's why. Allie then said that by them working the night shifts, it added another layer and it just got in the way of them having some conversations. Allie also goes on to say that she had a hard time having conversations with Anton outside of the pods in general. Anton said that's not true. That's not true. We had some of these harder, bigger conversations, just not on camera. Allie said, well, she wants somebody that's a big personality, that's the life of the party because she is not. So here's the thing, and I'm not saying they're synonymous, but sometimes, in some cases, people are the life of the party when they're drinking and partying and having fun. So, Allie, you want a life of the party type of person the way that you want them to be. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't think Allie knows what she wants, right? Because if this Antoine, why I want his name to be Antoine? Anton does seem like he has a good personality and he seems like he's a fun guy when he's out, but you don't want him to go out, Allie. So I don't quite understand this. So Ellie is saying that when the cameras were on, he was that guy, but when the cameras were down, she almost felt ghosted sometimes. She said that he didn't want to talk to her after work. Anton said, look, every day is not going to be a deep philosophical conversation. He said, I will come home from work, third shift, I'm going to eat breakfast, watch a little TV. He said, at that time, drink a beer. And I said, oh, now is the perfect time for us to have talked about the drinking. Now is the perfect time for us to have talked about the drinking, but for some reason we don't. For some reason we don't. It's glossed over, I guess. So he said, and then he will go to sleep. I mean, some days that's just how life is going to be. Vanessa then calls out Allie's friends for ragging on Anton's job about how he's just a truck driver. He just does this. And Allie said that had no effect on her decision. And I beg to differ. I think it did. Anton said it's a little concerning to see that the people that don't know him or how he is with money was all up in his business, and it wasn't good to hear his feelings were hurt about it. Anton has been happily in a relationship for roughly a year. Allie won't answer any questions about her personal life, and that means that the heifer's still single. So finally, we get to KB and Edmond, and KB is my star for tonight. If KB would have handled all of the conversations, and I know that's not human, but if she would have handled her conversations with Edmond like she handled it tonight, she would not have been looked at as the angry black woman or as the villain, right? Edmond would not have been victimized the way that some people try to, right? I know I got some hell in my comments because I feel, and I still feel, that KB should have never let it get to the altar. And a lot of you guys were like, no, that's the point of the show, to get to the altar. The point of the show is to get to the altar to say yes. Right? There is nothing wrong with, if you know that you are going to say no, saying no prior to going to the altar. I don't know why people think that you have to get to the altar. Every season, we see some people break it off before they get to that point. That was my point. I don't care if she said no to him. She should have said no. But the way that KB handled it, I personally think was wrong. My opinion's not going to change about that. KB has some notes on what she wants to say because she says she has a bad memory. Girl, ain't she a social worker? I guess they got case notes. So KB feels that Edmond was dismissive off camera and that she would actually come to him more about some things off camera than on camera. And she said that there was even one day where she was crying about how she didn't feel like herself and, she was emotional. And Edmond got up and walked away, dismissive. And when she asked him about that, he was like, I don't understand what you're going through. And so he didn't care about it. And so she felt that a lot of times that Edmond would weaponize his tears and be manipulative with his emotions. I 1000% understand how she can feel that way, right? So Edmond was like, nah, I wasn't trying to be manipulative at all. And then he goes on to say that he didn't have any repeated issues. Me and KB were like, that's a lie, because we heard her complain about the same thing every episode. So apparently, you were having repeat issues, okay? KB said that Edmond cried every day the first 10 days, and it started to feel manipulative because he was very dismissive off camera. And she said that it caused her to look like the angry black woman on camera because they would have an argument off camera, have to get on camera, and then she would have all these issues and she wanted to get out and to talk about with him. And they had a conversation about this. And I will say this, KB, no one can make you look. I get what you're saying, baby. I promise I do. However, no one can make you look like the angry black woman but you. And what I mean by that is you're in control of your own emotions and you're in control over whatever comes out of your mouth. And I think a lot of the ways that KB chose to handle these situations on camera is what made her look like the angry black woman. And it's a stereotype that we have to fight and battle all the time. However, the way that KB is expressing her grievances and is talking through everything today, very even keel with an even temperament, and she's not yelling and cussing and calling him out his name, is if KB would have been able to do that all season, you would have got your point across the same way without being labeled the angry black woman. And like I said before in the last video, it is tone, right? I have had people tell me about my tone. I had somebody say in the comments that you can change your tone if you want to. No, I can't change the cadence of my voice, right? I can't change the way that my accent sounds when I say certain things. And I think that's the part where people are missing. When I am having conversations with people and I know that it's going to be a sensitive conversation or something could be misconstrued, I do have to really think about how something is going to come out, because sometimes the cadence of our voice does sound like we got an attitude and we don't always don't. And I think that's where KB is struggling with when it comes to Edmond. Are there people that did infantilize him? Yes, for sure. I didn't do that because I told y'all he was a fuck nigga. He was doing a lot of stuff that was manipulative to her. But at the root of it, KB is the only person that can make KB look like the angry black woman. And unfortunately for her, that scene when they were on almost hit the spaceship, when they were on the snowmobiles and KB told him to shut up talking to me, bitch. That's what did it. Because everybody was on her side that entire time up until that moment. But if she has talked to Edmond about this and he still was probably, and I'm willing to believe that Edmond did not care, again, why stay with him and why take it all the way to the altar? So Edmond said that he has always respected KB. He was like, even when she is PMSing, the way that the women on there was like, I said, this nigga here. So he said that when she needed her space, he respected it. And one thing that Edmond does not do is he does not take feedback well. KB is telling you how she feels. She's telling you her emotions. She's explaining to you what she was going through, and you completely dismissed. Okay. So KB said that Edmond's reactions are something, because Nick asked a very good question. Is it that Edmond's reactions are just something that she is not used to, so it was different? Or is it that she truly felt that they were manipulation tactics? And KB said two things can be true at once, and that's true. It could be that she is not used to dealing with a nigga like this. Yes, but it could be that he was manipulative with a lot of stuff, and we did see that at the rodeo, right? He started that whole thing about how she doesn't say anything positive to him. He doesn't hear good things, but then when she wanted to have the conversation, he didn't want to talk about it. And then it turned into, but I love you, KB. Yeah, we've seen exactly what she's talking about, right? So she said that there would be times where he would cry when she told him that he was doing something that she did not like and didn't appreciate. She then mentioned that he got on his knees crying one day, and he was like, that's not true. And you can tell he's lying. So she said that when they were moving into the apartment, someone said that he was being obnoxious. He came over to her and was like, someone said I'm being obnoxious. And she was like, well, you are, and you're loud. And he got on his knees and started saying, KB, I love you. I love you. She said that was the same day before he got up in that cabinet. He was like, that never happened. And you can see that Edmond is lying. That's the thing. You can tell Edmond is lying, right? So he keeps repeating that nothing he did was a repeated offense. And I was like, okay. So then Edmond goes on to say that I was locked in on her, and it's hard to love someone and give them their all, and then they turn around and they call you manipulative and dismissive. Then he says that he never hears good things. So now he's trying to villainize her for sure in this moment, because she is just sharing her experience in a very calm way. In a very calm way. And your response is, well, I'm not hearing anything good. Vanessa clocks Edmond, and it's like, look, I think that a lot of the conflicts and arguments you block out, and it's just a survival tactic. Because KB was even saying, you don't remember this? You don't remember this? Because Edmond he just kept saying, I don't remember. That didn't happen. He's not even willing to give the benefit of the doubt that, okay, did I? He's not even willing to do that. It was very interesting. So KB said that Edmond has taught her patience and how to be kinder in the way that he needed. They had a conversation, and she asked him, what can I do? And he told her that she's not kind. So KB talked to her mother. And oh, that's the train. The train loud tonight. Train goes by around this time. And KB talked to her mom, and her mom told her, you're kind, but not maybe in a way that he receives it. So she had to learn how to be kind in a way that he receives it. And that's something that we need to do for everybody, right? So she said that she genuinely loved him. And for her, it was not an option of, because they got into it, waking up and not finishing out the process. She said she did genuinely love him, and she apologizes for cursing at him and calling him out of his name. Tells Edmond, don't accept that type of love from anybody. You don't deserve that. Don't let anybody treat you like that. Don't let anybody talk to you like that. Edmond was like, I was willing to accept anything from you because I love you and you're amazing. And he would never get a woman like her if it were not for this experience. And then they end up hugging it out. There was literally, like, there should have been more something in this conversation from the host. Well, KB did a great job and I appreciated everything she did, and KB to me is the star of the reunion, there was nothing out of Nick and Vanessa outside of, thank God, Vanessa told Edmond, maybe you're just suppressing some of these feelings, which people do. Like, that could be considered trauma for him, the arguments, whatever the case. So he's suppressing that. But I don't know, Love is Blind. I don't know. Let me know what you guys thought about this reunion. What did you think was missing? What do you think should have been expanded on more? What should we have talked about more? Subscribe to the channel, thumbs up the video, hype me up. Catch you guys in the next one. Married at First Sight. I'm doing Married at First Sight. If you guys watch that show in my recaps, I will catch you guys tomorrow for that. Peace.